What can science tell us? What are the limitations of science? Some scientists suggest that science is the only enterprise that can tell us truth about reality, and that all knowledge comes through science. This view is known as scientism. Science is indeed a powerful enterprise, but it cannot tell us everything about reality. Why is this? To do science, the scientist must presuppose the following. 1. The uniformity of nature. Scientists presuppose that the laws which govern our universe will never change. 2. The intelligibility of the universe. Scientists presuppose that the universe can be understood. 3. The reliability of the senses. Scientists presuppose that our senses are reliable. 4. The laws of thought. Science cannot prove the laws of thought because science presupposes them. And lastly, the law of causality. Scientists presuppose that every effect has a cause. The presuppositions made by scientists and the limitations of their discipline in no way suggests science cannot provide us with some knowledge about our world or reality. In fact, philosophers of science have debated for decades over the relationship between science and truth. Consequently, there are two major views concerning this relationship. They are known as scientific realism and scientific anti-realism. Scientific realism is the view that if we accept a scientific theory, we accept that it is true, that it accurately describes reality. Conversely, scientific anti-realism is the view that if we accept a scientific theory, we accept that it is empirically adequate but nothing more. Taking the scientific realism and anti-realism debate into consideration, if a person believes in the metaphysical, then it would appear advantageous for that person to subscribe to the notion of scientific realism. Why would this be the case? Well, if your belief in the metaphysical is an extension of your scientific work, then you could conclude that a metaphysical reality is indeed true. However, a philosopher by the name of Bos van Frossen has suggested we can have knowledge of the metaphysical and God and yet hold to a view contrary to scientific realism. Van Frossen has developed the anti-realist position of what he calls constructive empiricism. What is constructive empiricism? Constructive empiricism is the form of scientific anti-realism that sees the scientist as constructing models and theories that represent the observable phenomena only. It sees science as a constructive enterprise. Some key points of constructive empiricism are as follows. Number 1. The study of the metaphysical is not a part of scientific inquiry. Concepts such as God, good and evil, faith, etc. are not a part of science. So-called good science is science that is accomplished by way of the scientific method, and the scientist knows what the range of possible answers is. The range of possible answers can only include that which is observable. God is not empirically observable, and hence something like the study of God's existence has nothing to do with the scientific inquiry. Point number 2. Scientific realism believes scientific theories are theories which can lead to the discovery of truth regarding both observables and unobservables. Truth, however, is not in the vocabulary of the constructive empiricist. The constructive empiricist believes science describes what we find in the observable realm, i.e., that which we can measure and observe. And truth is a philosophical term which has nothing to do with science. Constructive empiricism holds that we don't have to believe a theory is true in order to accept it. The theory can be acceptable, and yet we don't have to believe it is literal. The scientific realist and constructive empiricist can look at the same set of data, and the realist will claim that the data shows the theory is true. Conversely, the constructive empiricist will claim that the data is only consistent with the theory. Incidentally, the constructive empiricist view is advantageous for the theistic apologist. This includes both Protestant and Catholic Christians, Jews, Muslims, and other religious apologists. When scientific results and scientific theory are at variance with religious belief, the religious constructive empiricist is not daunted. Science only deals with observables and has nothing to say regarding the immaterial. Again, scientists are not concerned with truth. Philosophers and theologians are. How can science have anything to say in response to someone's encounter with God? Or, how can one demonstrate scientifically that all non-empirical truth claims are unknowable? Let's illustrate the point. One of the prevailing views in the natural sciences is neo-Darwinian evolution. Neo-Darwinian evolution teaches that the evolutionary process is non-teleological. In other words, evolution is a blind process with no purpose. Many neo-Darwinists are materialists and consequently do not believe in God. So, creationism and theistic evolution are not possibilities for the neo-Darwinist. Astoundingly, according to the Pew Research Center, 87% of scientists in the US hold to a neo-Darwinian view. Now, many neo-Darwinists are scientific realists, hence they believe the data they are looking at is consistent with their theory, and moreover, that their theory is true. The constructive empiricist, however, will look at the same data as the neo-Darwinist, and at best will conclude the data is consistent with the theory. I stress, at best. Of course, the constructive empiricist may consider the data to be at odds with the theory. In conclusion, constructive empiricism is a fascinating and at minimum thought-provoking scientific anti-realist position. It's not often that a form of empiricism is associated with a theist's epistemological views. But it seems Bos van Frossen has developed an intriguing epistemic alternative to scientific realism. Hopefully, upon watching this brief video, you've learned a thing or two regarding the stimulating epistemological view known as constructive empiricism. I want to thank you for taking the time to view and listen to this video. Please continue to tune into my channel for more interesting videos. Until next time, I pray life finds you very well.